Hey everyone, how y'all doing? Welcome and welcome back to my channel. So recently my friend Haley from Pages of Haley uploaded a video where she was reacting to 1-star reviews of her favorite books. This is not a new concept, people have been doing this forever, but she's the one that I saw most recently do it. So I was inspired to make this video. I genuinely thought that I would never film this video because honestly seeing negative reviews for my favorite books makes me really sad, but we're gonna do it anyways because I think it could be really fun and entertaining, so let's just get right on into it. So obviously these people's reviews are their own opinions and everyone can have their own opinion, so it's fine if people don't like my favorite books. It doesn't actually upset me that much. So the first book we're gonna start off with is my absolute favorite book of all time, which is Wonder by RJ Palacio. Ooh, I'm really nervous. I've never actually looked for reviews of these books, but this one has a 4.42 average rating, which I feel like is really good actually. I don't know how to work Goodreads anymore. I never go on Goodreads. Okay, this one's a long one. Okay, let's go. I am reading this book with my daughter for her school, and it is so badly done that I wonder why people are so positive about it. That breaks my heart. Okay. While it is important to appreciate differences and be empathetic towards others at the same time, this is a very poorly written book. I disagree. Commentary about this doesn't make me a heartless person. On the contrary, those suffering or who are outcast deserve a better narrative. I think that RJ Palacio did a wonderful job with Wonder. I mean, I'm assuming this person's an adult if they're reading it with their daughter, so maybe middle grade just isn't a genre for them and don't understand what books are written like for middle grade readers, but okay. So their first note. Virtually all the characters speak in the same voice. I disagree. And that includes some of the adults. I disagree. You can switch a lot of the dialogue between Summer and Via, for example, and you cannot be any the wiser for it. 2. As part of the characters being of one voice, they are also of one mind. Somehow, 3 different characters independently of each other call August a zombie. Okay. And because Julian initiates the nickname zombie behind August's back, it is clearly a bad thought. Yet 3 characters think of his name and use it independently, including Jack. Would that really happen is not even a very apt description. I don't even know what to say about that. Let's move on. 3. The adult characters are not well developed, character-like, and are not believable. The parents are unflagging, and as such they are great, but one-dimensional. Like a lot of the other adults who seem to be there to give the thinly veiled didactic, teachable moments and terms, the adult characters are there to serve the larger agenda and are like the dumb adults on a sitcom. Not you disrespecting Augie's parents like that. Oh no. My daughter and I made jokes about how the mom hovers in the doorway asking August, "How was school? Are you okay? Okay, are you sure?" I doubt that such a nervous person could give real support, and what would it be like if real support were described? We could all learn from it if it were there. His mom is amazing and is so supportive of Augie, and I don't think she's nervous. I think she's worried for Augie because he's, going to school for the first time as a kid who's never been to a public school, isn't very often around other children, and she knows that it's going to be hard for him, and she's worried that maybe it was a bad decision to send him to school. I don't think any of that was accurate, and I'm a little upset. The plot is unrealistic. How? How is it unrealistic? Tell me, please. Black and white with no middle ground. The model student is Summer, who unrealistically gives up all of her other friends to hang out with August full time and eat lunch with him every day and just cuts all ties, not miss her old friends. Jack does this too. Maybe it's because their friends were assholes who were treating Augie like shit, and they realized, hey, I don't want to hang out and be around these kinds of people, so I'm gonna go be with Augie, who seems like a much better human. That doesn't seem unrealistic to me. Like if all of my friends turned out to be bullies, I'd be like, bye, I'm gonna go find somebody else to hang out with. I don't think that's unrealistic. Somehow they are impervious to peer pressure, and the desirable best friend for boys and girls ends up falling into August's lap, though so many children struggle with it. They didn't fall into his lap, he also struggled to make friends, but okay. Missing is the kind of playground dialogue that could have been really hard to deal with, real world dialogue. You don't have to take it out of the YA genre to do this. It's not a YA genre, it's middle grade, but okay. The jokes aren't there at all, which is why the author, this is a really long review, obviously they cared very deeply about this, which is why the author has to tell you they are funny or supposed to be. Oh yeah, August is funny, but she couldn't think of anything funny to include in his actual dialogue. But that's part of being PC, as you can't make jokes about anything, like when SNL fumbled around trying to make jokes when Obama was first elected. The vibe that I'm getting from that critique is that you want them to make fun of August or like make bad jokes. Like jokes like that are not funny, and I thought August was very endearing and very funny, so moving on. The whole book is contrived like a bad corporate video. Think Disney sitcom formula. Okay. Is this an extension of the children's feel-good conformist book for young children that has evolved into a young adult counterpart? It's not young adult. This book is middle grade. It's about a 10-year-old. It bothers me that society is dumbing things down so much that not only does this stand as a good young adult novel, but parents are reading it too. It's not young adult. This is very clearly a middle grade book. It is in the children's section of the bookstore. I don't know why that's making me so mad. I'm only doing it on assignment. It's not even your assignment, honey. Okay. Comments I've read are that the author is trying too hard and that it's superficial. Disagree. Part of the problem with superficial characters is that we don't get too close to them or really care. Augie is one of my favorite characters of all time. Okay. Someone wrote, it's our jobs as readers to fall in love with the characters, but really it shouldn't be a job. And in good fiction, it is either effortless or the effort has a payoff of some kind. Person seems very angry. I am disturbed by the anger of the author. And would argue that the story is irreverent, hurtful, and promotes a bad attitude, which is okay because the end justifies the means. How does wonder promote a bad attitude or is hurtful? Hurtful to who, ma'am? Hurtful to who? I'm getting really angry. Why am I still reading this? As long as we get to the end result to be of the same mind, it's okay to be disrespectful to authority. Poking fun of the principal. The principal lacks respect himself, as apparently it's okay for the principal to write a letter cutting down the son of a board member, which would probably get him fired. In this fantasy world, it's okay for a non-violent child to all of a sudden punch another child in the mouth and draw blood, since that child represents society's evils and the hurt children feel when they are outcast. And the principal can overlook, excuse, and promote this normally modeled child and keep his clean record, so you can all feel good about the punch he delivers. He even gets a pass from the mom of the punched child, but I've talked about unrealistic ideas in another point. Okay, the principal doesn't really overlook it. Like, Jack Will is punished. I think you're not looking at the full picture here. Like, the reason why Jack punched Julian was because he was being an asshole and he was being a bully, and Jack just wanted to stand up to his friends. I don't think it's that uncommon for children to act out in that way or not know how to like properly deal with their feelings or how to properly, you know, talk to somebody and talk through their problems and, you know, talk through an argument. And he was just like fed up and he was angry that Julian was getting away with this and being so rude. I could be remembering the movie more than the book, I'm not sure, but like I don't know, I'm mad. That really pisses me off. This person's talking about the ending and how the mom of Julian just kind of takes what the principal is saying and is like completely okay with the principal saying that it's Julian's fault and that Julian, like, why was Julian bullying the kid? She did not take it okay. She was very pissed and she didn't just like allow for her son not to go to the field trip. She just took her kid out of school. It was like, you're not coming here next year. That was her decision, not because she was like, okay, like, you did something bad, let's take you out. It's, oh, this school is shit, I'm gonna take you out myself and move you somewhere else where like our money is gonna be appreciated and we're gonna be respected. That's like her twisted mindset. She's calling Julian an easy punching bag because he's an asshole. He's not a punching bag. He was a bully and no one wants to be friends with a bully. I'm mad. Okay, we're moving on. Let's move on to Geekerella. They said the book was painful. I do not agree. To start with, the writing felt very stilted to me. Do not agree. I think Ashley Poston is very talented. There is no easy flow. I disagree. The main characters in the book all had a sort of pantomime-esque vibe going on that also really didn't work for me. This was supposed to be a contemporary, right? Therefore, you'd think that some realism was required. Why would you go into a book about a normal person meeting a celebrity and falling in love? Why would you go into that book expecting for it to be realistic? I mean, that does happen. It does happen. But just because it's a contemporary doesn't mean it has to be like 100% realistic. Like fake dating, how often does that happen? I know it does happen, but like how often does that happen? You know what I mean? So I think when you go into books in general, you need to suspend your disbelief, and you know, there's a comfort in that and knowing, I don't know, I don't agree with that whatsoever. Apparently they think it's an incredibly unimaginative retelling of a time-honored classic. It followed the fairy tale to a fault, and therefore instead of breathing new life into the Cinderella storyline, it felt boringly predictable. What do you want from it? It's a retelling, and I think that Ashley Poston and this book did breathe the new life into the Cinderella story because it dealt with fandom. I don't know, I love the Cinderella retelling in this book, and I think that it was done beautifully, and I do think that it breathed new life into it. I disagree. It's not dull. I can't believe I suffered through all those plot holes and that shallow excuse of a relationship for that god-awful ending. Nope. What plot holes? It's not a shallow excuse for a relationship, and it had a wonderful ending. Just saying. This is the corniest shit I've ever read. Also, I fucking hate the whole falling in love with someone you accidentally texted thing. It's stupid and completely unrealistic. I want to know how the person you accidentally text just happens to be your age, hot, and exactly your type. Bitch, please. Why would you read this book when that's literally what the whole description is about? Like, you should know what this book is about going into it before you read it. And if you don't like that plot, why would you pick the book up? That's my concern there. I don't even know why I read this when I rolled my eyes at the mere description of the book. Exactly. Why did you read it? You can't come in here and say that, like, you hated this plot line when you knew going into it that you wouldn't like that plot line. That's just not fair. I'm mad. Let's move on. I'm a little nervous for this one. I'm not gonna lie. I know a lot of people don't like Shatter Me. This is not a dystopia. It is a romance. Why can't it be both? Why can't it be a dystopian with a romantic subplot? Which is what it is. This is not a novel. It is a collection of similes and metaphors, most of which do not make sense. If you don't like her writing style, that's fine. I can see why it would be hard for people to like her writing style, but I personally love it. I think it is a very beautiful writing style, and I do think it makes sense. Maybe you just don't understand it. You're probably assuming, correctly, that I went into this book with low expectations. This is completely true. Any so-called dystopia with a runaway model on the front cover leaves me feeling skeptical. So they're referring to the old cover of this book. I get that. It's a really ugly cover. The cover has absolutely nothing to do with the quality of the book. Authors do not get to choose their covers. Authors do not design their covers most of the time. Tahara Mafi had no say in what her cover looked like, I guarantee it, especially as a debut author. However, I was also prepared to allow myself to be surprised. A lot of my friends loved this, and one of the biggest criticisms didn't actually bother me. Purple prose. So they said it didn't bother them, but literally in the paragraph above, they said that all the metaphors and similes did not make sense. I think there's a fine line in writing between the pretty and the purplish, and different readers will define it in their own way. Okay, this person literally said, similes and metaphors don't make sense. Biggest criticism of the purple prose did not bother me. Then the next paragraph said that the numerous metaphors, similes, and endless descriptions just didn't make sense. Make up your mind. And then they're talking about the annoying strikeouts. So there's a thing with Juliet specifically and the writing style of the series where she has a journal and she writes things and then she crosses them out and rewrites them or writes something else. I can see why that would be annoying. It did not annoy me. I think it's a part of the story, a part of the writing style, and I actually really like it, but I can see why that would be annoying. And story? What story? It's about time we just opened up an entirely new genre called dystopian romance, or alternatively romantic dystopia. So one of the biggest critiques is just that it's like a romance, which sure, but why is that? Like, if you don't like romance, then fine, just say that. You know, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with Shatter Me having a very strong romantic presence in it. It's actually one of my favorite parts, but okay. Also, kissing when you're fleeing for your lives. I'm sure this is not the correct way of things, right? And yet it occurs in way too many young adult books. I'm like, run, run, run. But the characters are too busy swapping saliva. I must be old-fashioned in my thinking that staying alive is kind of important. That one I do see in a lot of books and a lot of movies. They like have one last kiss before like things go to shit. And like, I do understand why it's annoying, and sometimes I also find it annoying. But also, like, if you don't know if you're gonna make it alive through something, wouldn't you want to say goodbye to your loved ones and like give them one last kiss or one last hug, because you don't know if you're gonna see them again? So that doesn't bother me too much, but I can see why that would be annoying. I'm sorry guys, I wasn't even entertained. The beginning was intriguing, but there was so little plot beyond the romance that it quickly became tedious. I hated the prose. I felt nothing either way for the characters. The series ends here for me. Fair. You know, you do you. If you didn't like it, that's fine. I thought it was entertaining. I thought the whole book was intriguing, and I liked the plot as well as the romance. Juliet does nothing but sulk around, wait for death, and whine. I saw no potential of her growing. She grows a whole heck of a lot in this series. You're just reading the first book and what was at the time a trilogy. She did a lot of growing over that time, and even more past those 3 books. Adam is just there. I agree. Warner is just almost there. I must admit that a few times he had potential to be a good character. I thought he was the only character that brought something. He made me cringe. He made me angry. He made me feel uncomfortable. He was getting there. At least then I felt like he had some sort of purpose in the story. Then he would say something so cheesy, so inconsistent with his character, and just downright stupid that I lost all hope in him. Kenji was just fucking annoying. Not you calling my baby Kenji annoying, not Kenji Kishimoto. Oh no. Okay, back up. Warner, I love Warner with my whole heart. He's not my favorite in the first book. I like him much more in the second and third and onward. But just based on the first book, I can kind of see this critique. But Kenji is my favorite character in that entire series, like almost of all time. Like I love Kenji with my whole soul and like being and everything. So that really hurts me. So this person apparently thinks that they deserve a medal for finishing this book. Like the Olympic gold medal in the anti-DNF games, people. You should have just DNF'd it if you were that angry about it. So, this book annoyed them on several different levels. So first, Juliet's power, or glitch, or whatever the hell it is. It's a power, honey. It is never fully explained in detail. It is skirted around in a mass of overwrought metaphors and complete bullshit. I don't agree with that. I mean, we're in Juliet's, like, point of view. She does not fully understand her own power. I don't like that critique. We learn more about it as the books go on. It is a series. You're not going to get all the details in the first book. That's not how it works. The next one is overwrought metaphors. I get it. The writing style is not for everyone. It's fine. The writing itself in general, fine, whatever. To each their own. Okay, so this person is talking about grammar and saying, when I'm holding a professionally published finished copy of a mass-produced book and it contains strikeouts, it's supposed to. Sentences starting in lowercase letters, it's supposed to. Numbers 1 through 10 incorrectly placed in number form. My inner grammar's Maven's granny panties get twisted so far up her ass it's impossible to focus. I mean, I get that this was all a stylistic choice. I'm glad that you understand that. That the sporadic, all over the place, shitty sentence structure was supposed to reflect Juliet's instability, or whatever the fuck it was supposed to reflect. But I just can't get behind starting a sentence with 4, my friends. So I can't speak on that because it's been quite a while since I've read the first book. So I can't speak on that specific sentence starting with a 4 because I don't remember that. But I really love Tahara Mafi's writing style. I don't know, I love how she formats her sentences differently, and I don't know, like the way that she forms her sentences and her paragraphs really packs in a punch in my personal opinion, and I think that they are quite frankly beautiful, but I can understand why it's not everybody's cup of tea. Add to that the insta-love between Juliet and Adam and the spindly world building of a completely unclear and poorly wrought dystopian society in a Barekva book that merely has a pretty cover. Insta-love between Juliet and Adam, sure, it's not good. I love the dystopian world though, so... Okay, I'm done. My battery's dying, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. That made me quite frustrated to see people's critiques of my favorite books, but you know what? It's fine. Everyone has their own opinions. It's all in good fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a huge thumbs up. Subscribe if you have not yet already, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!